Hello everyone, welcome to Writing Quest. In this video, I'm going to show you in Notion how you can make kind of a little bit of a plot grid and a couple of different ways that you can view the plot grid that you make. So let's jump over into the screen capture and here we go. Huzzah! Okay, so we're in the plot grid here. And so all I did was make a new page and I just call it plot grid. So there's nothing to it, there's nothing on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to make a table. We're just going to make a table view. Okay. And I think we're going to just call this chapters plot grid. That's what we'll call it. Delete out these extras. Okay. So we need a couple of things. We're going to call this the, call this 3-act story structure. I'll just kind of show you with this, but it can be adapted to anything. And this is a multi-select. And then we're going to do characters. And we'll make locations. So we'll do it that way. And so we're basically what we're going to do, and actually we'll do a little bit of, we'll add some other stuff here in a little bit, but so we're going to make this one we're going to keep this as a multi-select for now, but we may change it back to a select. This is a text one, but we're going to make it a select. And then we're going to do this one, and we're going to call it a select. So you can do this same thing with different things. Like you could use the relations tab here to do things. And then you could have different databases and you could select characters and you could still sort things the same way. But I'm just going to do it with these selects for now and you can kind of see what's going on. And so we're going to just add a chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4. We'll just do 4 for now. And so let's just do, we'll just start sorting some things. We're going to call this, let's call this the hook. And then for 2, we'll do the build up. For 3, we'll go to the inciting incident, which those need to be switched. Sorry, I can't spell today. And then we'll go to the hook, inciting incident, build up, and then we'll do the first plot point, just for reference. And then we'll do character 1, character 1, character, keep on to spell chapter 2. And then we'll do a location 1 and a location 2 and location 3. Okay, so we'll just do this and we'll do this. You could call this, let's call this point of view characters actually. I'll show you what you can do later. Okay, so now that we have a little bit of basic information in there, what you can do now, what we're going to do is we're going to change this over to a grid, or a board. Okay, and we're going to sort this board by, we're going to group this board by, let's do by story structure. And we will put it in the right order. It's something I wish that Notion would fix is when you do a group, it puts it in the order that it was in, but just a little bit of a gripe, not a huge big deal. And then we're going to do a subgroup of characters, okay? So the whole point of this is that we are building a little, like, building different views for grids. So this is going to be story structure versus character. It's a POV character. So we'll call this one. So it basically just gives you this nice little grid thing where you can see the hook in character 1 is chapter 1. And then you have chapter 3. So we want to, let's say we want to switch this around. We're going to do that. We're going to actually make the inciting incident be with character 2. So chapter 2 is the inciting incident in character 2. Chapter 3 is the build-up. But we're going to do that with character 2 as well. And we'll make this the first plot point, but that's with character 1. And what's really cool about this is that it just gives you this nice, little plot grid. It'll just give you this little pacing thing. And that's something that when I've worked with in Notion before, one of the reasons I like it is because I was able to start finding my pacing. And so you can do these kinds of sorts. And then you can also see, well, I have some characters here. No, I have chapters that don't have a point of view character yet. Obviously, that wouldn't happen because you have to have a point of view. So we could hide these, say. So that's just one way you could do things. And then, of course, you can add more things. So this can be the first pinch point. Okay. And then you can add some chapters. So say you're going to do this, like chapter 1, 2, and 3 are all with these characters. Okay. Now, what it kind of does is makes it a little interesting because, like, obviously we have chapter 1 and 3 up here, but you have chapter 2 down here. But it still gives you this kind of flow of, in the hook, I have 2 chapters with character 1 and I have a chapter with character 2. And so if you're trying to keep things a little even, or you don't want to give a character as many spots in the story, if you basically what it allows you to do is, you have more. Let's call this chapter 5 and chapter 6. And now you can start seeing, oh, look at this that I have here. My hook is, I've got 4 chapters with character 1 and I've only got 1 chapter with character 2. So actually I want to write this chapter 6, I want to write from character 2's perspective. And you can keep it sorted by name if you want. So this will keep it, that'll make it alphabetized since I spelled them. But if you put it with numbers, then it would do it that way. Or you can just do a manual. So 1, 3, 5, and 2 and 6 are with chapter 2. So it just gives you a little bit of a thing. And then actually, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So let's do it this way. So it kind of gives you this little drag and drop editor for playing with your story. And then, of course, if you, let's go into this one. And we added a property that was the, let's just call it the chapter overview. That's just text. And so let's say this is the overview. And then if you go into your little 3 dots here, you can go to properties and we're going to show that. We're going to show the chapter overview. And now, as you type in your overviews of chapters or whatever information you want, you can still see it while you manipulate this plot grid. I know that there's a lot of scenes and chapters that I've written in my stories where I have essentially, I wrote the chapter, I wrote it, and then I read it, and I thought, I think I wrote this from the wrong perspective. So what you can do is you just drag this down. It helps you keep everything straight. Now you're going to write chapter 1 from character 2's perspective. Chapter 2 is character 2. Then you have chapter 3 and so on. So there is one way that you can look at this. Let's look at a couple other ways that we can do this. So let's look at a couple other ways here. So let's duplicate this. And this time, we'll call this character versus chapter. Let's just kind of change it up and see what we get here. So now let's group by locations. Okay. And then we're going to subgroup by the 3-act story structure. Let's see what this gives us here. Let's put things in the right order, of course. Build up. Got this backwards. There we go. Do it this way. Okay. So now we're looking at our chapters by location, and what part of the story they're in. So now, as you can see, I've got 3 chapters here that don't have a location. And then I also have every chapter is currently just in the hook with the location. So let's say we want chapter 2 is in location 2. Let's do chapter 5 and move it into location 3, but chapter 5 is a part of the buildup, and chapter 4 is a part of the buildup, but we're in location 1. And let's actually rearrange this so we can see that a little better. So do it this way, and then we'll do in the inciting incident, we've got this back in location 1. So again, this shows you, this little kind of grid of how your story flows. So the hook is chapter 1 is in location 1. Chapter 2 and 3 are in location 2. When we go to chapter 4, we come back to the build-up here. And when we go to chapter 5, we jump over to location 3. That's a new place. And so it just gives you this nice little overview of everything going on with the flow of your story, with a nice little visual aid. And then what we can also do to get a little more creative, we can show our character properties. And so now you can see at a real quick glance the flow of your story. So location 1 in the hook with character 1. We go to chapter 2 where we go to location 2 and character 2. Chapter 3 stays in location 2, but now we're back to character 1. So you see how this is, I think, pretty helpful as far as showing you ways that you can see your story. Let's kind of flip-flop it so you can kind of see what the layout really can look like in another way. Let's do our group is by story structure again, and our subgroup is going to be by location, just so we can see it slightly different way. Let's move our stuff around so we're in the right order again. And then location 1, location. Change this over here. Okay, so now we've got just another way to see our story. So you've got chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, location 1, location 2. It's the same information, just flip-flopped on the grid. But again, I think it's very interesting that it gives you some really cool ways to see all of your information. And so that's a little bit of what we can do with Notion as doing a simple little plot grid. I think of this, again, Notion is one of my favorite programs to work with as far as writing your story and plotting your story and working on your story. And so definitely something to check out. And if you haven't already checked out some of our templates that we've already made, we have templates for Storybook, Storybook Pro, and Storybook Master Novelist. Each one is a little more complicated than the first. And so definitely, if you're interested in that, make sure to check that out with links in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video of Writing Quest. I hope that this was useful to you. For you that love Notion and love using Notion, I hope that this is just shows you another way, another use case that you can use Notion for writing your stories. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time on Writing Quest. Huzzah!